Guys, no matter what anyone said about this SMG, I don't think anyone could have predicted how nasty this thing actually is. And I have seen SMGs come and go. I've seen Shior's Wrath at the height of its reign. I've played with the God Roll Multimax. I've experienced Terrible and Ravenous Beast to its fullest. However, the Immortal is beyond any SMG we have ever had. Now, we have lots of testing to go over, but I just want to say big, and I mean big shout out here to Zalden for allowing us to get on his account. He landed the ultimate roll, which is this one right here. Have you ever seen anything so beautiful? Look at that range stat. Now you might be wondering, Cross, are you sure this is the God Roll? Well, I will say full bore might be a little much, as it does hurt our other stats, but everything else is exactly what you want on your SMG. Ricochet rounds for that bump there in range and stability. Rangefinder, which increases our range as well as our zoom magnification. And then the final perk there, target lock. Damage increases the longer this weapon remains on a target. Now, the reason why that's such a beautiful perk is because on this SMG, you go from a 0.72 time to kill value at base against max resilience guardians. But when we actually throw on target lock is able to secure the kill in 8 crits on guardians 7 resilience or less in 0.56 seconds. Fellas, that's fast. That is so fast. I mean, that is ridiculously fast. I couldn't believe it. We actually primed our shots down to the final 8 shots, laid on the trigger, and it landed the kill. And the reason why it's able to do that is because it's amping the damage up. Now, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of target lock. First up, it increases the damage as you go down in the magazine. And it's actually based on a percentage of your mag, or how many shots you actually use in a mag. So at 12.5% use, you proc the first stack. At 35.5%, you proc the second stack. 54.5%, you proc third stack. At 74.5%, you proc the fourth stack. And at 110.5%, you proc the fifth stack. Now keep in mind, guys, on this SMG, you're not gonna get past 100% of the magazine. That 110.5% is really for weapons that has perks like 4 times the charm, triple tap, things that actually give you ammo back. For instance, retrofit escapade. It was so good with target lock because you have 4 times the charm, you can lay on the trigger, you can return ammo and reach that 110.5% consumption, but still have so many shots left over. Now, target lock here on Immortal is not able to achieve that, but it doesn't have to. 4 stacks is plenty. And for the most part, you're never even gonna get to 4 stacks unless you're outside of optimal range. Everyone within your range is just gonna die. Now, for those wondering how strong is target lock, is this strong? You can literally shred a well down. But again, it's the level of forgiveness that this perk adds mid gunfight for literally just laying on the trigger. But Cross, can't you get the same time to kill value with kill clip of 0.56 seconds? Yes, you can. The problem is that kill clip requires a kill to activate. Granted, it is a little more forgiving at 6 crits to body, but you have to get a kill, and after reloading, you only have 5 seconds to take advantage of that 25% buff. And keep in mind, guys, kill clip got nerfed a season ago, so it doesn't give that 33% buff. It's 25% now. Now, even if we had pre-nerfed kill clip, I would still take target lock now. Literally having it activate just 1 stack of target lock is enough for us here to pretty much always get that guaranteed kill. Even if you're not landing all crits, this is also increasing your body shot damage, which is just adding more forgiveness. It is by far the most lethal SMG in the game, straight out the gate. No kill activation needed. All you have to do is just lay on the trigger. Now, another beautiful thing about target lock on this SMG is the range. Yes, even though the base range is really good, target lock actually adds more to your actual kill range. So for instance, Ikelos at max range, and I mean max range, is 24 meters, which a lot of people have said for a long time, that's way too much range. But hell, guys, Immortal here, this roll was reaching up to 25.5 meters, which is crazy. Just a point of reference here, guys, Shior's Wrath at max range with a range masterwork and an adept range mod, we're talking 100 range, barely peaks over 26 meters. So the fact that Immortal is able to achieve this is pretty much because of rangefinder. Rangefinder is tagging on those extra 2.25 meters or so. Now, normally I wouldn't heavily commit to the range like this, but considering how accurate this weapon is at great ranges, guys, you're fine. Like literally, commit here to range. You may not want to go with the full bore roll. You may want to do something like Hammerforged Rifling. You're still keeping your stability stat just slightly under that of 40. But when you tack on even things like rangefinder, you're still almost reaching 25 meters here with Hammerforged Rifling, a ranged masterwork, and an adept range mod. But to take this a step further, the kill range is actually much further than that here on Immortal, just because its fall off begins around 25.5 to 26 meters. It's actually able to kill up to 30 meters of range, and that's because target lock. That increase in damage, going from 1 stack at 16.73% increase to 23.47% at 2 stacks, 29.28% at 3 stacks, and then capping out here on Immortal at 34.73%. That is enough to allow you to get that kill even at 30 meters. Now, for the most part, you're going to be closing the gap. So a lot of times you're going to start at 30 meters and start walking toward your enemy and they walking towards you. So you're going to get into that 28 meter range. But while you're laying on the trigger, that damage is consistently increasing, therefore securing the kill even outside of its fall off range. So again, I cannot stress enough how good this perk actually is. Now, I know we've talked a lot here about target lock, rangefinder, and the God Roll, but I do want to touch upon a few other things, starting with the base recoil direction of this weapon, 96, which is extremely vertical, almost perfect. That beats out that of like Ikelos, which Ikelos is still pretty good, but it does have some slight drift there to the left. Secondly, with it being a Trials weapon, you have the origin trait Alacrity, which you gain increased reload stability and aim assist, as well as range when you are the last living member of your fire team or running solo. Guys, this origin trait is the cream of the crop when it comes to playlists like Rumble, or even in game modes like Trials when you find yourself the last living member of your fire team. The most noticeable aspect here is the aim assist as well as the stability. Now keep in mind, it does tack on that plus 20 range, which is nice, which is what really allowed us here to get to that 26 meter territory and just a hair above it. But understand, this particular roll, we're already at 90 range. So we're already hitting that cap, which is why I said a second ago, Hammerforged rifling really is completely fine on this thing. You do not have to commit here to full bore and hurt your stability and hurt your handling. I know my mouse and keyboard players are like, no, Cross, I want range and nothing else. All right, that's fine. But for my controller players, you're completely fine with just using Hammerforged rifling. Now, that is not the only origin trait found on this weapon. We have, of course, one quiet moment where you grant increased reload speed when out of combat. No one's really using that. But the other one is called field tested. Defeating targets or dealing damage with this weapon gradually increases range, stability, handling, as well as reload speed. Now, we did a breakdown the other day of our perks, guys. We did a correction video because some of these perks we actually got wrong, and then field tested specifically, its values on LightGG at the time of the original recording was also wrong. With that being said though, field tested is actually a fantastic perk and it stacks up to 5 stacks. Now keep in mind, guys, that does not mean 5 kills. It actually requires more and more kills with every single stack. For instance, the first stack just requires 1 kill, but 2 stacks require 2 kills. And understand the counter restarts with that next stack. So it's not like you get 1 kill and then a second kill and now you have 2 stacks. No, 1 kill gives you 1 stack of field tested. Then you have to get 2 kills after that 1 kill to proc field tested times 2. Now, are the buffs substantial? It is, guys. I mean, we did our testing the other day. At times 5, you start seeing some crazy increases in things like reload speed, stability, handling, all that stuff. It's really, really good. But for me, guys, it's more of a perk for PvE. Now, some major benefits about field tested, it does not go away. Even if you stow the weapon and pull it back out, field tested is still there. It'll only go away really when you die. Now, if you're going to be running with a team, then obviously something like field tested is pretty nice. Don't expect it to really lift your range up though, guys. Like if you already have the God Roll, you're really not going to pick your range up all that much. But if you happen to be running with a team and you feel like you're never going to proc something like Alacrity, maybe it's 6v6, then by all means, guys, just put on field tested. And if you happen to be rocking a kill clip roll, even though I think target lock is definitely the best trait here in that column, if you are rocking a kill clip roll, well, hell, guys, field tested is just going to aid in that reload speed as well as everything else. You could just be procking it back to back, almost as if you're procking something like Outlaw. Now, considering that this is a strand weapon and we have so many artifact mods this season aiding strand weapons, what is the God Roll for PvE? Now, I know my PvE players are like, Cross, please don't tell me this thing is good for PvE. Well, it's got potential. Number 1 is an SMG. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm using SMGs pretty much all the time inside of PvE. Number 2, it's got field tested. It's also got things like hatchling. You can actually do like a hatchling threat detector combo with field tested and just really lean into strand and threadlings. And for my warlocks out there, this is for you. Really, really. Like I know we have other SMGs, most notably synchronic roulette, and you can get hatchling on that SMG, but I prefer 750s inside of PvE. So guys, that is the Immortal SMG. It lives up to its name. It's a fantastic weapon. And if you've been playing PvP this weekend, you've probably already been killed by it way too many times. I know there are other traits in these columns that I didn't really get into. Surplus, threat detector, perpetual motion, tap the trigger. Listen, those are all fantastic traits. All I'm telling you is that the rangefinder target lock roll, that one, that's the trait combination you want if you're playing PvP. Guys, if you're interested in getting this weapon, we are going to have a guide out here later today that's going to go over everything that has changed with trials. And if you're interested in actually doing some runs with us, we're going to be doing trial cards with viewers over on our Twitch. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always, course.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.